Hello, everyone. Woo! We're back on screen together. Well, we love our first Mondays of the month because we are here to help and be a part of a meditation a day with EWN. So thank you to all of GP's wonderful students and our other wonderful people just with us. And as we know, when we do our meditations together, there's this magic that happens. And so we love to bring interesting topics to everyone and some questions that come up along the way. So GP, I'm actually going to give you full-blown credit here. GP thought of this one, and there must be a reason behind it, but I'm just going to guess with it. So the question we're going to ask just before we go into the meditation, which GP Walsh will lead, the question is, do affirmations work? And a lot of us have them. We have our own, whether it's just something that we say in our mind over and over, that we have it written down and that we read it and we review it. And then sometimes we get mad at them. We're like, it doesn't work. Screw this. Rip it up.
Damn you.
Or we blame ourselves. Like, what am I doing wrong? And so we're gonna have a few of those questions. And one of the things that I noticed about affirmations when people are asking that question, it's because they haven't got what they wanted. It's taking too long. Life isn't just working out, or they're just tired. And I like the word depleted. They're tired and feeling this depletion in their life, a lack of. And so, first of all, let's pretend that nobody knows what an affirmation is right now. GP, share with us what an affirmation is and why we would even create one or say one.
Well, an affirmation is basically positive self-talk. Right? It's basically what it is. You're creating an inner dialogue that is positive. It's uplifting. It says good things about you. It says hopeful things about the future, and it really focuses on what called the positive aspects, but that word is overused. What it really means is things that are life enhancing rather than life detracting. Or life depleting, because I know you like that word today. And so really that's all there is to it. But it's easier said than done, right? Because the moment I start saying something nice to myself about myself, I will run into years of self-talk that has been saying things that are not nice to myself. And we've gotten so used to those that if we start changing, whenever you start to try to change a pattern, you're going to run into resistance. There's a momentum in the nervous system, and it's unavoidable. And so in order to keep it up, it takes a little bit of discipline and work and guidance. Because without the guidance, you're going to get lost. You're going to ask yourself, what am I doing wrong? This doesn't work. Why isn't it working? It's all my fault. And the negative self-talk will have even more to work with, more ammo to throw at you. And there was actually a study done, I believe it was at Harvard, that tested affirmations to see if they had a positive effect. Not necessarily on getting what you want from the world, but do they have a positive effect psychologically? And the answer came back, it was very interesting. If you already had a sense of high self-esteem, they made it better. If you didn't, it made it worse.
That's
Isn't that interesting? So, there's nothing magic about an affirmation. Just like there's really nothing magic about a mantra. The power is always in you. So now, if we set the goal to be able to comfortably say good things about yourself without shaking or quivering or arguing or having to fight for it, if that's the goal, then you're going to have a different way of approaching it and a different practice of it than it would if your goal is to get something. So remember, when you're getting something, it's outwardly focused. And that's always a problem because you can't control the world as much as we'd like to, but you can if you learn how. Control, I like better the word take authority over the content and direction of your own mind. which has been, mind training has been a part of meditation and a part of spiritual practices for I don't know how many thousands of years, because it was recognized that very early on. It took the West a long time to catch up, but it was recognized very early on that the way we think does not match the way reality actually is. And so we need to learn how to do it and to do it properly. And I have a little secret to help.
Oh, it's a secret. Okay. Now, a quick question before that. Authority. So, I'm going to have a fun little slogan now, authoritative affirmations. But what is the difference between authority and empowered?
They're really the same. I mean, empowered means that I have the power to you already have the authority. You have it, right? And you're using it either to reinforce the unhappy self-talk or the happy self-talk. You're the one doing it. We don't realize that. We think we're fighting against something, but it's only, we're doing this and go, stop hitting me, stop hitting me. And it really is like that. So the authority is something you have already. And I would say that empowering is as you begin to recognize that and assert it. Because if you don't assert the authority, it doesn't matter. Or if you're misusing the authority, that is, you're using your creative power to create exactly what you don't want, then you need to be, well, it's always empowered too, because it always works, right? You are the master of your own territory. It's just a fact. We just do it ignorantly more than consciously. And we do it out of habit rather than out of intention. And so if instead we begin to take the power on, to actually become responsible for that power, I actually can do this, then it becomes a matter of learning how to, without being authoritative, right? Without being power and forcing things. Instead, it's very kind and very gentle that you begin to gradually and gently move the habits from here to here. Because there is no such thing as a habit that can go dink. They don't exist. There's always going to be steps along. Well, that's why we created easing into self-care, because there have to be little baby steps that start to make the space, and eventually the strength returns, and you can make those big things. You'll actually be able to think about how wonderful you are, and I'm so wonderful, I'm so wonderful, I'm so wonderful. Right? Just trying to enforce it which never. That's what doesn't work.
Right. I actually came up with a new term this morning. Instead of intermittent fasting, it's intermittent changing.
Well, yeah, that's really it. And that's a really powerful thing in intermittent fasting. You don't change what you're eating. You don't have to do any of that stuff, which is really difficult. You just you only eat during a certain time during the day. Yeah. Everything else is the same. So eat all the pizzas you want, but stop at 6 in the evening, and don't start again until about 10 o'clock the next morning.
So it's just the same thing: intermittent changing, intermittent practicing, intermittent affirmations. But no, you mentioned a secret. So do you want to share the secret before doing the meditation, or is it part of it?
No, it's in the meditation.
Okay.
Yeah, it's in the meditation, because there has to be a way of easing into making an affirmation, right? And because if you anybody who's tried it, especially early on, it's painful. It's like pulling teeth, right? I mean, it's just, there's nothing but resistance and fight, and the minds go, "Are you kidding? You're nuts. You're never going to get that. What's the matter with you?" I mean, that's all you hear. And the more you try to force that, the louder that voice is going to get. Because remember, no matter what it is, no matter what it's saying about you, its motivation is only to keep you safe. And if you believe those things, you're contained in a particular way of living, and the nervous system says, "Great, he's safe, she's safe." And you don't like your life, but remember, that part of our energy, that part of our nervous system, doesn't care whether you like it or not. It has one motivation. Are you safe? Yes or no? And that you run into that wall because it assumes that if you go past it, you're going to get hurt, because in the past you really did. So that's what it found, where the wall is, built the wall, and this negative self-talk, self-judgment, self-criticism, self-sabotage are simply the tools that it created to keep you contained. Now, if you see it that way, suddenly you're not dealing with this ferocious enemy that you've got to overcome and conquer, right? Which you'll hear a lot of self-talk talks like that, right? Instead, it's like, oh, this is a loving part of me that needs to be retrained. This is a rescue dog that needs to know that it's okay. And it's not something trying to fight. Now, notice that's a complete shift in the relationship with it. So at this point, you can actually begin to say to yourself some things that were, yes, for the longest time I believed I sucked mud, but maybe I'm not as bad as I think I am. Now that's very gentle. The nervous system can grab that.
And I want to just bring into this, because we're thinking about, affirmations, and like I have a sentence and I say it and okay, now I've got to believe it. Now, the most important thing about affirmations is, and this is to your asking you, GP, is because it's what we're saying something to, if we believe it, do we create that world? Is that now our reality? Because it has to be a belief that we feel is possible, that we enjoy, that we like, that we believe. And is that why we're using affirmations?
Well, it would take the rest of the day to go into the depth of beliefs and the energetic assumptions and the stuff underneath, because the belief is not a thought. Contrary to the way it's said that a belief is just a thought you keep thinking, that's not true. That is not true in the slightest. Where did the thought come from in the first place? What holds it in place so solidly? Right? There's something else that makes the thought collect around that, and that's the belief. And the belief is invisible and silent. It is not a thought. It collects thoughts around it that reflect it. It's kind of like, you ever seen where you take a piece of paper and you put a bunch of iron filings on it? You put a magnet underneath and suddenly they take the shape of the magnet, right? No matter how hard you try to push them away, they go back. But if you take the magnet away, now they're okay. Now notice, the magnet's completely invisible. If you had no idea there was a magnet there, it'd be, oh, it's magic. It's sorcery. It's whichever way you want to put it. Burn them. But that's what it is. So the beliefs, I call them energetic assumptions to try to distinguish it, because you're not aware of them. They're in the body as programmed responses. They are not thoughts. And so if you see that, you'll see, which I don't even understand why they say that, because it's obvious that if the thoughts are in that form, something attracted them into that form. They're just not something you're thinking, or something put them in that form. And if you don't get to that, they're going to just keep going in that orbit. As long as there's a sun, we're going to keep going around it.
And this is why, yes, it wouldn't take just all day, but we have courses on this too. But for an affirmation to work, because the question being, do affirmations work? The recipe has to be there, that there's not a belief that you're holding in place that is contradictory to it, or that I'm going to leave it there.
Yeah, let's leave it. Let's leave it at that.
There you go. So yes, we look forward to this. I'm super excited for this one. I'll come back after the meditation is done, everyone, and please enjoy this secret recipe one too.
Forgive the microphone being so big in the screen, because I really want to capture my voice better. Sometimes there's echo when I have it off to the side, and I want you to be able to hear everything very well. So, as I always like to do, just close your eyes and settle into your body, because this is a body experience. The affirmations that we bring into our minds must connect to the body, or they will be dismissed effortlessly by the energetic patterns that are there. which is what maybe most people experience, especially in the beginning, and give up because they don't know what's happening. So just sink into the body now. Take a couple of breaths, deep and slow. It's always best to exhale longer, take longer than the inhale. There's actually a physiological change that takes place. Just kind of give your body permission to let go for a minute, to relax.
You're muted.
All right, I'm sure you can now. Yeah. There was a setting on this microphone that I didn't know existed, and I just found it and had to find my way back. So, you were just sinking into your body anyway, completely lost in your own self, hopefully. But really let your body feel the warmth of your empathetic attention. Your body is key to this whole thing. Because that's where traumas are stored. That's where our disappointments are stored. That's where our childhood training and learning has been stored. And like a rescue dog, the body has to be invited out of its position of defense and into a position of cooperation and love and self-expression. So now I want you to imagine that you are that little kid. Maybe you're laying in a crib or on your little bed, but you're not very old. You can barely talk. You certainly can't think or reason. You can't question anything your parents do, anything they say to you, or even energetically what you feel around them. Because as a child, you sense way more. Well, totally. You don't think at all, not for a while. Everything is pure experience. You have no words. So you're just experiencing directly. Now, as that little child, I want you to imagine that rather than what you probably did hear and feel when you were that little one, that is just absorbing absolutely everything, whole persona, beliefs, assumptions, character being formed right there, completely without consulting you, a mirror image of your parents. Now imagine that you are that little child. And what you're hearing and sensing and feeling and receiving the treatment of sounds more like this. We are so glad you're here. You have brought and are bringing so much into our lives. I love you so much because you're so lovable. You're so valuable. I can see nothing but good, happiness, prosperity in your future. You were born worthy. You don't even have to earn it. And there's nothing you can do that will change that. No matter how you act, no matter what you do, the mistakes you make, the blunders, even the severe ones, it cannot change the simple fact you are loved, you are lovable, you are valuable, and you inherently deserve the very best of everything in life without having to earn it. You've already met all the standards. Just your very being is a delight to me. Being with you is the greatest joy in my life. Watching you grow is an honor. I don't even know what you'll eventually become or do, and it doesn't matter. I don't care. I know you'll be you, and all good things are coming and will continue to come to you. You will have a remarkably open, discerning eye, a wisdom that will discern for you clearly who's a good intimate partner and who isn't, who's a good friend and who isn't, who can you trust and how much, who can you do business with, who should not be in your life at all, who should be an acquaintance or a business associate, who you might hang out with, and those few who get into your inner circle, because that's how wise you are. There'll be a never-ending flow of abundance and prosperity because there's nothing in you to block it, to resist it, or to think you're not worthy of it. Those are just ideas that will not even occur to you. Energetic patterns that will have no place in you. You will be financially abundant, even rich. For you, money will always have a positive association. You won't be able to even think of the word money without feeling your own generosity and kindness, your love of sharing. And you will have a perfectly healthy body, as you do now, drawn to all the right foods, just like you are now, moving away from everything that doesn't feel good, that you know from the feeling in your body, nope, this isn't for me, because you naturally cherish the feeling of health, which you know so well, the energy, the vitality, the juice. You already know it. And it will stay that way for your entire life. Oh, I wish I knew what you were going to become. Watching you grow is beyond a joy, beyond honor. It's unspeakable to be able to participate in your growth on all levels. Your wisdom, your compassion, your abundance, your beauty, your confidence. They're all there in you. And I see it. I acknowledge it. I love it. And I love you, just as you are. And I always will. And you're that little one, laying there, just hearing those words. Those are the words you heard. Those are the feelings you got. And all of the actions and energy around you all reinforced it. They said it with their bodies, their hearts, their actions. But now, you and I are that ideal parent. We are the Virgin Mother, the Divine Goddess, who is saying that to you, and that little one in you, what you always wanted to hear, because it's always been true. And just take a moment. Just sit with that for a second. There's something deep inside of you that just soaks it up like a sponge, like that little one that you were and who still lives in you. We can say it, even though it wasn't said then. We can say it now, and that same little one will hear it. So take another breath. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes. For some reason I'm having a hard time unmuting you.
There you go.
Oh,
I got it.
you're muted. Okay.
That was so beautiful. And of course, I have my top two things I wanted to bring up. I'm going to have a vote right now. If anybody would like to title this meditation, if they agree with this title, I think that should be called The God Parent.
Ah, the godparent.
I was going to fun.
Not the godfather.
Right. No, the godparent. What I absolutely...
I think we might have a little problem here.
What was absolutely beyond perfect, and I know that you probably felt this, was you've already met all of the standards. And if that is directly to our worthiness, am I there yet? Am I good enough? And when a child, whenever we right now hear that you've already met all of the standards, I felt all molecules literally shift in my body. That was a good affirmation for me.
Well, and but the thing was is you people may have said those things a million times, but when you picture yourself as that innocence and what that little one was hearing, because that's all the negative self-talk is the stuff you heard when you didn't have any ability to distinguish, discern, and say, no, that's not true. You heard it, so for you, it is true, and that's the power behind the resistance to us saying that. But if you put yourself in that position, very gently, and just imagine yourself being spoken to like that. Notice the heart just goes, thump. It just opens. And every time I've done it, there's not a dry eye in the house.
Just like Carl Lucy is sharing right now. And
Yeah.
all of you other wonderful, beautiful people, Karen and Dorothy and Facebook user. That was, yes. And the sun is now just coming out when that was said. That's an important thing too. Just as we wrap up a question there, when we are wanting to create an affirmation for ourselves, we are witnessing that I would like not more of this in my life, but I want this to be better. I want this improvement in my life. And there's an affirmation we find. Should we be putting ourselves into a position like that first, like a gentle position of like clean slate, kind of like forget everything else?
Well, what I would do is start the whole process differently, and because remember, if there's something you want, and of course, and who doesn't, right? There's always something else we want to get our hands on, and this is human nature. It's supposed to be that way. The problem is we're blocked from getting it for some reason. If we recognize that the things that come into our lives, and I don't like to use the word attract, but the things that come into our lives are a direct reflection of our own self-love. So if we don't put our attention on that, you'll never get the thing, right? Or it takes such enormous amount of energy, and the moment you get it, you'll be afraid of losing it. and then oh God, I mean, I've actually heard billionaires upset because they lost a couple $1 million. Dude. Because there's, when there's that sense of not enough, the sense of lack. But the sense of lack is not coming from the absence of the thing. It's coming from the absence of the fact that you didn't get the love and appreciation and valuing that you deserved. That's where it's really coming from. As that begins to heal, the resistance just begins to fall away, because now, of course I deserve it. I was born deserving. There was no place in my life where, what was I, 3? Did I become non-deserving at 3?
Right.
How about 7, right? Where did it happen, right? No, there's no such thing as a non-deserving baby. Nobody looks at their baby and goes, you know what, you've been with us for 6 months. Don't you think it's time to get a job?
Right. I actually, during the meditation, I did find myself, whenever something came up that one of my standards I hadn't met, for me, I did immediately go to, how old was I when that happened? I really did. So that's funny you bring that up. I wonder if anybody else.
Well, exactly, because it's learned at various stages.
Right.
And remember, when it sinks in, it becomes the magnet under the paper. It's going to reflect itself as thoughts, feelings, emotions, actions, all sorts of things that are all going to manifest that invisible magnet. So what we're doing is we're taking the magnet away, and we're putting one that has a very different shape to it.
We're switching out the magnets, but not.
We're switching out the magnet.
It's not an attraction law thing. It really is a belief,
Well,
and it's
look at that. There's
belief.
There has nothing to do with attraction, does it?
No,
right?
not at all.
But the natural consequence of this shift in our sense of self is that you lose weight. You look in the mirror's not going to show the weight you had before. It's an immediate reflection of right now. So as you shift, so will your external environment, which I keep emphasizing. Don't worry about what's out here. Put all of your attention here. Because if you deal with this, the rest, seek ye first the kingdom of heaven and its righteousness, and everything will be added unto you.
Beautiful, beautiful way to end that one too. I'll just invite everybody. We it seems like we're never here long enough, but we're going to start changing that soon. We're going to do little mini me time moments and things like that. But I will invite you right now if you're thinking, I want a new magnet. I want to get a new magnet under the paper for self-organizing things. I want to invite everybody just to check out our program, Easing into Self-Care. GP had mentioned that we have to ease, like we don't just go, jump and then we're there, because then we're going to have a lot of resistance and a lot of, well, hopefully not failures, but
there are no flying squirrels in this process.
Right. Yes, exactly. But we would love to invite you just to explore the program. It's a 30-day easing into self-care transformation, truly transformation. We're transforming that magnet out for a different one.
Yes.
We weren't prepared. I didn't ask GP to get the link on that one, so I will add it to the comments after when we pop off. But it is something you're with us for 30 days. It's on your own 30 days. We don't have to be there with you, but it's very affordable. It's $97, but we also break it down into payments. So you can literally do 3 payments of 35. I think
I know.
Yeah. So we've done that for you. But GP, I think everybody could just go back and listen to your meditations over and over and over. They're timeless. They're always helpful. They're always loving. Thank you, everybody, for showing up. And thank you, EWN, for allowing us to be with you on these first Mondays of the month. And we'll see you on one of our platforms somewhere. And we wish you all a beautiful day. Thank you, GP.
Bye all.